The first rule of Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club. The first rule of Urban Underground Magic Fight Club is always make sure your fireball is fully charged before throwing it. Welcome to the Unspoken. What if magic was real? What if the man that sells you your coffee, the woman across from you on the train, or the oddly quiet co-worker at the office secretly had the ability to fling cars around like snowballs or summon death itself to attack you? What if instead of robes and cloaks, wizards wore hoodies and Chuck Taylors? And what if all of these people wanted you dead? The Unspoken is the third title in a trio of games developed by Insomniac for the Oculus Rift. It's also a free bundled title for the upcoming Oculus Touch platform, and therefore has a lot of pressure placed upon its shoulders. Not only does this need to be a fun game, worthy of a highly respected AAA developer, but it also needs to justify the purchase of a $199 accessory to a horde of content-hungry consumers. On both counts, it succeeds with flying colors. This game is all about one thing: making you feel magical. Whether you're launching fireballs, summoning ancient beasts to do your bidding, or casting a perfectly timed shield, the Unspoken wants to send you on an adrenaline-packed power trip from the moment you move past the title screen. Everything in this game revolves around multiplayer combat. There is a loose story about a secret order of magicians hunting you down, but for the most part, the game focuses on fights against other players. There is no single-player campaign, and the only thing you can really do by yourself is a rudimentary practice mode. The Unspoken was built from the ground up as a multiplayer battler, but the lore and scope of this game leaves you craving some sort of story to play through in between brawls. The absence of a more fully fledged solo experience was therefore expected, but it still weakens the overall game ever so slightly. Let's talk about combat. Before you can even get on the battlefield, you'll need to choose a class and loadout for your artifacts. Artifacts are powerful spells that can be used once per round during a fight, and involve a more complex series of gestures than the average attack to pull off. These game-changing abilities allow you to deal heavy damage with a paper aeroplane that turns into a squadron of jet fighters, prevent your opponent from moving with Cthulhu-like tentacles, or wield a lightning-infused spear that cracks through any of your enemy's shields. In addition to these heavy hitters, each wizard class also has its own unique rollout of unique spells to dish out. There are 3 classes in total: Anarchist, a fiery class armed with flame attacks, firework barrages, and a devastating molten skull. Blackjack, a nimble class requiring more precise aim with stealth abilities, magical blades, and a pack of mystical playing cards. And Kinetic, a telepathic class that uses objects from around the world to wear enemies down before finishing them off with a devastating bombardment of flying automobiles. Each class triggers their various abilities by holding down the grip buttons on each touch controller and forming either a push, hands together, a volley, hands apart, or shield, hands crossed pose for a few seconds. The inputs are simple, but when performed inside an immersive VR duel, they make you feel nothing short of unstoppable. The Unspoken's New York City setting provides several memorable maps as well. The stages are divided in half with an assortment of pedestals on either side. In order to move during combat, you must target a pedestal on your side with a teleport spell. Some locations have cover to hide behind, and both you and your opponent can destroy each other's pedestals. The stages themselves are dynamic, changing as each of a battle's 3 rounds progress to provide more pedestals, different stage hazards, and a special almighty summon that both players must fight for by attacking a glowing orb. The different classes, dynamic stages, strategic mobility, and varying artifact loadouts all work together to make the Unspoken one of the most consistently entertaining and deeply competitive VR games ever made. Once the game is out, the servers flicker to life, and an online meta begins to develop, it would not be surprising to see a game like this become a staple of the esports community, and perhaps even earn itself a spot on some of that industry's most famous stages. Here at Upload VR, we gave the Unspoken a final score of 9 out of 10. It's amazing. The Unspoken is a message from Oculus and Insomniac that the next level of VR gaming has arrived. This is a title that could only ever work in a VR headset, and it succeeds because of, rather than in spite of, the unique capabilities of its platform. The Unspoken represents everything that's fun about playing games in VR, and it has all the makings of a legendary title we'll still be talking about for years to come.